I must operate within the Constitution and within the laws that are on the books.
We follow all state, city, and federal laws in Boston.
We comply with all laws.
Folks that arrive in our city, we offer same access to services they may need to be successful. And if they break the law, we hold them accountable, we charge them, we prosecute them.
That was the main message from the mayors of 4 major U.S. cities, New York, Chicago, Denver, and Boston, as they testified before the House Oversight Committee on Wednesday. All 4 were invited to Congress to speak about their city's sanctuary status for immigrants living in the country illegally. News Nation's Joe Khalil was in the room and has more.
Yeah, Drew, a long hearing so far, still going on, actually. It's been pretty intense. In there, the big takeaway is that none of these mayors have openly committed at this point to honoring ICE detainers. That is, having ICE, Immigration Customs Enforcement, request that anyone who is in their jails and also in the country illegally be handed over while they are in jail. All of these mayors say that their local law enforcement are not federal agents and should not be doing the work of federal agents. And they say that is a basic tenet of our system, where you've got states and you've got the federal government operating on different planes here. Take a listen to one exchange early on between Chairman James Comer and Chicago's Mayor Brandon Johnson.
In your cities, when someone's apprehended for a crime, will you turn that criminal over to ICE?
And we do not harbor criminals. Our local police department works hard every single day to ensure that the city of Chicago is
Yes
safe.
or no? Will you turn the criminal over to ICE?
With a criminal warrant from the federal government.
Now, Drew, interestingly, several of these mayors said even though they are sanctuary cities and they offer services and that even if they won't cooperate fully with ICE detainers, they do often cooperate more broadly with ICE and with federal law enforcement. In fact, Denver's mayor had an exchange with Jim Jordan where he said they do alert ICE when their people in their jails who are undocumented are coming out, and often ICE agents are able to detain them after they've left their local jails. But Jordan basically pushed back and said that's not good enough. This is what he told me outside the hearing room.
Because they played this game, we're gonna notify them the last minute. Okay, but just give ICE a heads up sooner, so you don't have an officer get assaulted, you don't have to tase the immigrant, and you don't jeopardize the safety of people in the community.
Now, the other storyline here that's playing out is obviously Mayor Eric Adams, who was under investigation for alleged corruption, and those charges have seemingly been dropped. A lot of Democrats upset about that because they feel that he's working with the Trump administration, they say, in exchange for those charges being dropped. You already had one member of Congress in here, a Democrat, Congressman Garcia from California, directly looking at Mayor Adams and calling on him to resign. Drew.
Joe Khalil, thank you. President Trump and Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau spoke over the phone today amid an escalating trade war between the U.S. and its biggest trade partners. Wall Street is seeing a 3rd straight day of losses over fears the president's trade fights will slow down the economy. For the latest, we're bringing in Alex Gangitano, White House reporter here at The Hill. Alex, we're hearing that there's been some announcement regarding the tariffs and exclusions for the auto industry. What do we know?
That's right. The White House tells us that there's a 1-month exemption for automakers with those 25% tariffs on Canada and Mexican goods. And so basically, Press Secretary Carolyn Levitt told us that the automakers called Trump. It was Ford, General Motors, Stellantis saying, can we have some sort of an exemption? Can there be a carve out? And he heard them and allowed for this 1 month. That also raises the question of, will there be other carve outs coming up with these sweeping tariffs? Could the president hear from other industries, lobbying groups who say, can we get some sort of a 1 month free or not be included in this round of tariffs? And she actually left that as an open question of that the president is willing to listen to other industries. This 1 month isn't a ton of time for these industries to pull out of making cars in Canada and Mexico and up their production in the U.S. or whatever they need to do to not get hit. So we'll see if they ask for more, and also, as I mentioned, if this opens the door to other industries too.
Yeah, 1 month, not a lot of time to change your entire supply chain. At the same time, Trump teased in his speech last night that he's not backing down, maybe even going to be implementing more tariffs here in the coming months. Let's take a listen.
Tariffs are about making America rich again and making America great again, and it's happening, and it will happen rather quickly. There'll be a little disturbance, but we're okay with that.
The White House seems to be saying that we have to take some short-term pain for long-term gain here. How long should we expect, according to the White House, this little disturbance to last?
Yeah, they came up in the White House briefing today of, you're saying that Americans will feel a hit, but when will things get better? And they've leaned on time and time again that this is President Biden's economy, that they've inherited, that with high inflation and raising prices and high gas prices and grocery prices, and they are trying to fix that while also leaning on tariffs. So we don't have a clear question over how much time they're actually telling Americans just wait this out. We know that the president talked a lot about tariffs on the campaign trail, said that this is something that could strengthen the economy while also hitting Biden again for the high price of groceries and gas. Now those prices are not sharply coming down. Egg prices are going up, as we know, and the White House doesn't have a clear answer for how long they'll have to live right like that. And then there's the question of goods from Mexico, like avocados. How long is it going to take for Americans to be able to get some goods that they rely on that might be coming from Mexico here in the U.S. at the price that they feel comfortable with?
China and Canada quick to respond to Trump's tariffs with tariffs of their own. Mexico says a response is coming. The Chinese embassy in Washington really ratcheting up the rhetoric, posting on X saying, if war is what the U.S. wants, be it a tariff war, a trade war, any other type of war, we're ready to fight till the end. Harsh words there from the Chinese. Do you see any off-ramps to these escalating tensions, especially as it pertains to China?
Yeah, as it pertains to China, I mean, we know that the president spoke with Canadian and Mexican leaders in particular, especially last month when he delayed the implementation of the tariffs. That was because they said we'll crack down on some more migrant crossings. With China, the issue is the flow of fentanyl coming in through China, from China to the U.S. through some of these border countries. I think if they could give the president any kind of reassurances that they will stop the production of fentanyl, stop it from coming into the U.S., he would feel more comfortable on that front because he brings up that as the top issue. But it would have to be a immediate crackdown. I mean, really extreme measures, I think, for this White House to feel comfortable to raise these kinds of tariffs. Same time, if China is saying that this is going to be a trade war, they're going to hit back, and the president is really serious about these reciprocal tariffs as well. So any country that says, you know what, we're going to raise our tariffs on you, that's just going to make it worse on the tariffs that we put on them. So I don't really see an off-ramp right now, but I think they'd have to be some very high-level diplomatic conversations, especially on the issue of drugs coming in.
Trump still says those reciprocal tariffs coming April 2nd. Many Republicans say they support Trump's tariff efforts right now, but there is some hesitation in the party. House Majority Leader John Thune says he hopes the tariffs are temporary. Let's listen to him.
So these tariffs, I think, are hopefully temporary. Obviously, I come from a state that is our number one industry is agriculture, so we care a lot about being able to export. A lot of our product in South Dakota hits the export market.
Ted Cruz from Texas, another Republican, echoed those concerns. Republicans, are they starting to get worried that this pain felt by the tariffs could end up being a political liability in the next election?
I think so. A lot of Americans who supported Trump, it was because they trusted him on the economy. We saw polling in September and October saying that Trump was being trusted on the economy and what he was saying. Americans felt confident that he could do better than the Biden years. Now, if prices are going to get worse, it's Republicans in the midterms that are going to feel hear from constituents at town halls, in polling, and again in November 2026 if prices do not get better, if these promises aren't kept. And so they're the ones that are really going to take the hit here. And I think a lot of Republicans, when Trump would talk about tariffs on the campaign trail, thought of tariffs as a negotiating tactic of, okay, maybe Canada and Mexico will do more about border crossings, and that will make these tariffs temporary. Now, the way that Trump had delayed those tariffs and now said that deal-making time is over, I think Republicans are still hopeful that this is a negotiating tactic, but it's looking less and less like these are temporary.
Elon Musk and his Department of Government Efficiency continue taking this wrecking ball to the federal government. Next in the crosshairs, the IRS and the VA. We're hearing the VA is going to aim to lay off 80,000 workers by this summer. What do you see as the impact of these agencies being cut down to size? The IRS, obviously very important as tax season comes up, and for veterans, the VA has always been a difficult issue to make that agency function properly. Cutting 80,000 workers out could be concerning.
Yeah, I think both of these agencies could present some sticking points for the White House when they are supportive of DOGE, because one, as you mentioned, this affects tax-paying Americans. It is tax season. People want to see things going smoothly, and if this impacts their rebates and whatever else, that's a huge issue for Americans. And then when it comes to veterans, I've thought that as we've heard about veterans losing their jobs at other agencies because of these cuts, now veterans may be having more difficulty getting some of their benefits, or some of them also losing their jobs at the VA. That's huge for Americans. I think a lot of Americans cross the line when it comes, the line is when it comes to veterans. And so if, polling comes out that now there's less support for these DOGE cuts, that there's less support for Elon Musk, I think the White House will listen to that and find out ways that they think that DOGE has gone a little bit too far, and it might be these two agencies.
All right, we'll continue to follow. Alex Gangitano, thanks so much.
Thanks, Joe.
Wegovy could cost $499 per month for users of the blockbuster weight loss injection drug if patients pay in cash. Pharmaceutical company Novo Nordisk is rolling out a new way for customers to get the weight loss drug. NovoCare will allow customers to pay less than half the price for Wegovy through a new direct-to-consumer online pharmacy. The cash pay offer will be available to millions of patients who do not have insurance coverage and can be shipped directly to patients' homes. The initiative aims to make the drug available to more people and for patients to use the brand name medication instead of cheaper knockoffs. The news comes after rival Eli Lilly cut the price for its weight loss drug, Zepbound. That's today's Daily Debrief. I'm Drew Petrimoulx. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe to the Hills YouTube channel, and come back here soon for the intersection between politics and policy.